Hello Kitty Ward Elementary School. I'm Mr. Doodle, a doodler from England. I'm based in Kent in England and I often work in London, and I'm here to answer some of your questions on doodling that you've asked me. So what other artists have inspired me? Well, when I was younger I was very much inspired by Picasso's work and Hundertwasser and lots of street artists and graffiti artists. But Banksy was one of my inspirations for sure. But I also really loved the Where's Wally books and the Where's Waldo books, I think they are in America. Those books were very inspiring to me because of how busy and detailed the imagery on the pages were. That really spoke to me and grabbed me and made me want to draw. And I really loved video games and comic books and cartoons like Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. All those channels and TV shows really made me want to draw, and video games like Crash Bandicoot was probably one of my biggest inspirations. So, what do you do when you are not drawing? When I'm not drawing, I'm often doing emails, so I have to do lots of emails or animations, videos, interviews like this, so there's always time for this kind of thing. I draw a lot of the time, most of the time, 90% of the time, but the other 10% I'm doing, bits like this and kind of maintenance work and things like that. But I love to make videos and spray paint stuff, so it's not always drawing with a pen. It's lots of different things, lots of different ways of making artwork. But the key is just to have fun with it, and I think doodling can take many forms. It doesn't have to be just drawing with a pen. So what inspired me to use only black and white? This is a good question because I usually do use black and white. I'd say most of my work is black and white. A very small minority has bits of colour. Sometimes I put in spot colours like small bits of red or yellow or something, but usually just black and white. I find that black and white is the nicest contrast of colours to use because it really pops off the whiteness, the dense black line. That really, I think, captures people and draws people in, and I'm very much concerned with just making a very popping drawing rather than filling it with too much colour. I think too much colour can ruin a drawing sometimes, and I don't really want to do that. The point of my work is to create doodles rather than to colour them in, so that's mostly why I use just black and white or just two colours, whether it be red on white or blue on white, but usually black on white. Do you make any artwork other than doodles? For example, have you made clay? Yes, when I was younger I did lots of clay work. Ceramics was one of the courses I did at school actually, so I did quite a lot of clay work, but now often I usually just do doodles, but I make these doodles sometimes 3D. I make some of the characters 3D, or I'll make, as I say, animations and videos, so it's not always just pen on paper or pen on walls. It's lots of different things. The artwork takes many forms, but it's always in that doodle kind of style. It's important to me to keep the style across no matter how I'm working, because that's kind of the way I speak as an artist. It's my visual language. So, how old were you when you started doodling? When I started doodling, I must have been 3 or 4, or maybe even younger. I used to draw all the time in these tiny little sketchbooks, and my parents would buy me big sheets, like 500 sheets of paper from the local supermarket, and I'd sit there and just fill up all the paper and do that the whole weekend after school and even during school, during the lessons and everything. I just used to love it when I was a kid, and I still love it now, and I wanted to keep that passion for making something that I really loved, so that when I turned it into a career, people could also love it too. Because I find if you're really enjoying something and you document that and show people, then they find enjoyment in that too. What inspired me to create art? What inspired me to create art? Well, every day I wake up and I think, oh, I could make a new picture today, I could draw something different, and it's really just a joy for me to do that. It's a privilege to be able to make art and do what I want to do as a job, as a full-time career. It's amazing. Nothing in particular inspires me. It's just really everything. Like I never don't feel inspired. I'm always feel inspired, and it's never enough to just draw one room or one wall. I've always got to feel like I've got to do more. It never feels like it's enough, so I'm always inspired and always excited to do more projects. Have I ever gotten in trouble for doodling on someone else's property? Well, funnily enough, this has happened before. I have drawn in circumstances where I maybe wasn't supposed to be drawing in that place at that time. I think it's important that we do draw in places where we're supposed to, but often you can get carried away and just want to doodle too much. But as you get further in your career, you often get chances and opportunities to draw in all kinds of different spaces. So you're never really of a lack of spaces. So the more you work and the higher you get in your career as a doodler or as an artist, the less likely you're going to need to go and draw over something that isn't yours. But it's not a good idea, really. So I think that doodling, you should just try and doodle. You know, I want to doodle as much of the world as possible, but I think the more I've done it, the more chance I've got to do that anyway. So eventually, hopefully, the whole world will allow me to doodle everywhere. What is my favourite character to doodle? Well, I like to doodle myself. I always hide little Mr. Doodle in the drawing somewhere. Or aliens. I love to draw aliens and robots. They're two of my favourite characters, yes. What is my favourite colour? Well, my favourite two colours are black and white, of course. But if I had to pick one from the rainbow, then I'd probably pick orange. Orange to match my hair, and then a little spot of orange in the drawings then sort of matches my palette as a character and as an artist. It's also a very fun character. It's a very fun colour to draw, orange. It sort of symbolises fun and kind of childishness and the sun, and it's quite a positive colour, I find. Do you make mistakes sometimes? Yes, well, I made a mistake even reading out that question, but in my artwork, yes, I do make mistakes sometimes, but not too often. The more I've done it, the less mistakes I've made, but I do find that mistakes can be quite good to make sometimes. You learn from your mistakes as you do in life, but when I make a mistake in my artwork, I just try and turn it into something else. If it's like a line in the wrong place, then I'll turn that character into something different. I'll give it an extra eye and no one will really know. So usually I get away with it with clever thinking. Have you been to Las Vegas? And next time you're here, come and visit Kitty Ward Elementary School, please, in capital letters. Yes, I'd love to visit your school. That would be a pleasure for me to come to your school and even doodle one of your walls. I'd love to do that. Next time I'm in Las Vegas, I haven't been before, by the way, but if I ever do go to Las Vegas, then I will certainly send you guys an email or some sort of message and let you know when I'll be there, and hopefully we can organise something, because I'd love to meet you all and draw on one of your walls. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a doodly day.